Hello, preschool friends. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about signs of spring that you can see outside? And we talked about a bird that comes back in the spring that looks like this. Do you remember what that bird is called? That's right, it's a robin. And some of you made paper plate robins like this and sent pictures to me, and it was really fun to see the robins that you made. Well, today I thought it would be fun to teach you kind of a poem about robins. So you're going to need your fingers for this, 2 fingers. And these are going to be our 2 robins, and they're sitting on a cloud. And this is how it goes. 2 little robins sitting on a cloud. One's named Quiet. One's named Loud. Fly away, Quiet. Fly away, Loud. Come back, Quiet. Come back, Loud. I think the loud one scared my cat because he ran away. Which one do you like best? Do you like the loud robin or the quiet one? You can ask people at home which one they like too. All right, let's try it again together this time. 2 little robins sitting on a cloud. One's named Quiet. One's named Loud. Fly away, Quiet. Fly away, Loud. Come back, Quiet. Come back, Loud. So that's a poem about robins that you can teach to some people at home, to your family, and then you can ask them which robin they like better. Do they like the quiet one better or the loud one? It would be interesting to see what they say. Well, the last time that we were together, we read the story of Jamila's dress. And there's something that I wanted to talk about again in the story. Let's see if you can remember this part. Do you remember in this picture, Archie is showing Jamila the photograph that he took when Jamila was wearing her mother's cloth and she was in the middle of town with the chickens and the dog and all the people, and Archie took a picture, and then he showed Jamila that the picture is in the newspaper. And I think there's another picture of Archie with the newspaper. Yep, here's a picture of Archie showing the newspaper with the picture of Jamila to Jamila's mother. So today we're going to talk a little bit about newspapers, because newspapers are a really good way that people get information and news. And newspapers use something that we have been learning about. They use letters to make words and sentences to tell stories, and they also sometimes use numbers and pictures. So I'm going to show you a newspaper that I have at my house. And most newspapers have different parts or different what we call sections. So we're going to talk about the different sections a little bit. So this is my newspaper, and this is the first section. This is the part of the newspaper that has stories and pictures about things that happen here where we live and things that happen all over the world. So that's the first section of our newspaper. The second section of our newspaper has more stories and more pictures. And these stories and pictures are about things that happen where we live, in and around St. Paul, in our part of Minnesota. Here's another section. Let's see if you can figure out what this section is about. Take a look at those pictures. What do you see? That's right. There are people playing hockey, and hockey is a sport that people play. So this is the sports section, and sports starts with letter S. Let's see what other sports are in here. Oh, I think I see some people playing football. So there's stories about football, and here's another section. I think these people are playing basketball. So we have stories in the sports section about hockey and football and basketball teams. And then on the back of the sports section, we have something that really isn't about sports. I'm going to show you this and see if you can look at the pictures and figure out what this part of the newspaper is about. Can you tell what that might be telling you about? That is the weather section. So this part of the newspaper uses pictures. There's a picture of our country, the United States. And there's a picture of our state of Minnesota and Wisconsin. And it also uses words to tell about the weather. And numbers. The numbers tell what the temperature will be, how warm it will get. And then you can also see little pictures of like sunshine and clouds. And that tells us whether, oh, and there's one right up here too. It's a little easier to see. That tells us what kind of day it will be. Will it be sunny? Will it be cloudy? Kind of like we talk about when we talk about the weather at school. So that's the weather section of the paper. And, ooh, here's kind of a fun section. This is the comics section. And in this part of the paper, there are pictures and words that tell kind of fun little stories. So the comic section is kind of fun to read too. And then we have another section. This is the ads section of the newspaper. And ads tell us about things that you can buy in a store. So this ad tells us about things we can buy in the grocery store. And ads usually use pictures. This one has pictures of the food you can buy and words that tell about the food and numbers. You see the numbers down here. Those tell us how much money the food costs. We use numbers to tell about money. So lots of information in the newspaper, lots of information using words, which are made from letters, and pictures and numbers. So what I would like you to do is see if you have a newspaper at your house, or if you don't have a newspaper, lots of people get ads sometimes come in your mail. So see if you maybe have an ad that came in the mail or a newspaper. And then we're going to practice a little cutting with our scissors. So if you can find that ad or that newspaper, and then you can practice cutting letters, numbers, or even pictures out of your newspaper to have a little cutting practice. I am going to look at my newspaper and see if I can find the letter that starts my name. I'm going to look for a letter, the letter that starts Valerie, and I'm going to see if I can cut it out. I think I see one right here. Yep, and I'm going to cut this letter, and then I'm going to show it to you. And that's something you could do too. You could look for the letter that starts your name in your newspaper or your ad and cut it out. And if you wanted to, you could even look for all the letters that make your name and glue them on a piece of paper together to write your name. Okay, it's a little tiny, kind of a tiny letter, but I found a letter, V for Valerie. Let's see if you can see that. It's a little bit hard to see. There's a little tiny letter V. That's the letter for my name. Now I'm going to cut out some other letters. Let's see if you know what some of these letters are. Let's see. Here's one right here. Do you know what that letter is? That's right, letter S. Good job. All right, let's try another one. Ooh, I bet a lot of my friends know this letter that I'm cutting. And this is a letter, capital letter. Let's see if you know what this one is. What's this letter? That's right, O. Good job. And if you wanted to, you could also cut out some numbers. I'm going to cut out a number and see if you know that number. Let's see. Here's a good one. See if you can tell me. Cutting, cutting, cutting. All right, here it is. This is not a letter. This one is a number. See if my friends know what number that is. What number is that? 3. That's right. Good job. So parents, this is an activity your children might need a little bit of help with, but you can see if they can cut out letters, cut out numbers, just to get a little cutting practice. And then you can talk about the names of the letters and the numbers that you see in your newspaper or your ad at home. And then you can just let me know how your child does with that. So that's all we have for today. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, preschoolers.